There comes a moment in your life when you realize that noise has been your biggest distraction. Not the noise outside, but the noise inside your head, seeking approval, chasing validation, explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand you. And if 2025 taught you anything, it's this. The more you talk, the less you build. The more you explain, the less you execute. The more you seek attention, the further you drift from your purpose. 2026 is not the year to prove yourself to others. It's the year to prove yourself to yourself. You don't need to announce your moves. You need to post every step. You don't need to tell people what you're about to become, because real power moves in silence. Growth happens in private. Transformation doesn't ask for attention. It demands discipline. Think about it. Think about it. Every time you speak too early about your plans, you release the energy needed to actually do the work. You trick your mind into feeling accomplished without earning it. And suddenly the hunger fades. The urgency disappears. You become satisfied with talking instead of doing. That ends now. In 2026, you focus on yourself, not selfishly, but intentionally. You protect your time like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. You protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. You stop entertaining distractions disguised as opportunities. You stop responding to everything and everyone. Not every message needs a reply. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. When you stay silent, you observe more. You learn more. You see people for who they really are, not who they pretend to be. You begin to understand patterns. Your patterns, their patterns, the world's patterns. And once you see clearly, you move differently. This is where your power grows. Because while others are busy talking, complaining, explaining, and seeking validation, you are building, you are working. You are improving. You are becoming someone unrecognizable. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is responsible for your dreams. Nobody owes you success. If you want a different life, you have to create it. If you want respect, you have to earn it. If you want results, you have to work for them consistently, quietly, relentlessly. There will be days when it feels lonely, when staying silent makes you feel invisible, when focusing on yourself feels like you're missing out. But understand this, you're not missing out, you're leveling up. Distraction is the enemy of greatness. Every hour you waste scrolling, comparing, reacting, that's time you could have invested in your growth. Every moment you spend explaining yourself to people who don't care, that's energy you could have used to build your future. So you make a decision. You decide that your goals matter more than temporary attention. You decide that your future matters more than current comfort. You decide that your discipline matters more than your mood. And once you make that decision, everything changes. You wake up with purpose. You move with intention. You stop seeking motivation and start building habits. Because motivation fades, but discipline stays. You don't need to feel like it. You just need to do it. Just need to do it. You show up when it's boring. You show up when it's boring. You show up when nobody's watching, especially when nobody's watching. Because that's where champions are built. Look at people like Tony Robbins, not because they were loud about their beginnings, but because they committed to growth long before the world noticed. Success didn't come from talking about change. It came from living it. And that's your path now. No more excuses, no more delays, no more waiting for the right time. The right time is when you decide. You don't need a perfect plan. You need consistent action. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You need to believe in yourself. You don't need to explain your journey. You need to commit to it. Stay silent, not because you have nothing to say, but because you have something to build. Let your results speak so loudly that your words become unnecessary. Imagine where you could be 1 year from now if you truly locked in. If you cut the distraction. If you stopped announcing and started executing, if you focused on yourself every single day. That version of you is not a dream, it's a decision. And it starts with one simple shift, less talking, more doing. So in 2026, you move differently. You protect your vision. You guard your focus. You embrace the silence, and you become unstoppable. Most people sabotage their own progress because they feel the need to announce everything before it even begins. They talk about their goals, their plans, their next big move, and in that moment, it feels good. It feels like progress. It feels like something has happened. But the truth is, nothing has happened yet. Words create an illusion of achievement, and that illusion is dangerous because it tricks the mind into relaxing before the work even starts. The moment you start telling people what you're going to do, you release a part of the energy that was meant to push you forward. You get temporary satisfaction instead of long-term results. That's why so many people stay stuck, because they fall in love with talking instead of building. When you choose to stay silent, everything changes. Silence forces you to face the work. It removes the shortcut of validation. It takes away the applause that usually comes too early. The kind that doesn't get likes, comments, or praise. Just effort, consistency, and discipline repeated day after day. That's where real growth lives. There's power in moving quietly. When you don't announce your plans, you protect them. You give them space to grow without interference. You avoid unnecessary opinions, doubts, and negativity from people who don't understand your vision. Not everyone deserves access to your goals. Not everyone needs to know what you're building. Some people will doubt you. Some will discourage you. Some will project their own fears onto you. And if you're constantly sharing your plans, you open the door to all of that noise. Silence closes that door. Working in silence also builds a stronger mindset. It teaches patience. It teaches focus. It trains you to rely on yourself instead of external validation. You begin to find satisfaction in the process rather than the recognition. And that's a powerful shift, because when you fall in love with the process, you become unstoppable. You no longer need people to cheer you on. You no longer depend on motivation from outside sources. You become self-driven. Then there's also an element of surprise that comes with silence. When you stay quiet and focus on the work, people don't see you coming. They underestimate you. They assume you're not doing much. And then one day, the results show up. The progress becomes visible. The transformation speaks for itself. And suddenly, everyone is wondering how you did it. But by then, you've already built something real, something solid, something that doesn't need explanation. Talking about your plans can also create pressure that works against you. When you tell too many people what you're going to do, you feel like you have to live up to those words immediately. That pressure can lead to stress, anxiety, and even avoidance if things don't go as expected. But when you stay silent, you give yourself the freedom to grow at your own pace. You can make mistakes without judgment. You can adjust your path without feeling like you're failing in front of an audience. You can focus purely on improvement. The truth is, nobody really cares about your plans as much as you think they do. People are busy with their own lives, their own struggles, their own goals. So instead of seeking attention, use that time to build something meaningful. Use that energy to improve your skills, strengthen your mindset, and create real progress. Silence doesn't mean you're doing nothing. It means you're doing everything that actually matters. It means you're choosing substance over appearance. It means you're committed to results, not recognition. So you wake up every day and you do the work. No announcements, no unnecessary conversations, just focus, just discipline, just action. You keep going when it's hard. You keep going when it's boring. You keep going when no one is watching, because you understand that this is the price of real success. And when the time comes, you won't need to say anything. Your results will speak for you. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they don't protect what matters. Time slips through their hands, piece by piece, unnoticed. Energy gets drained by things that don't deserve it. Endless scrolling, unnecessary conversations, reacting to every notification, every opinion, every distraction. And at the end of the day, they feel busy but not productive. They feel exhausted but not fulfilled. Because being busy is not the same as moving forward. If you want real change, you have to start treating your time and energy like they are limited resources, because they are. Every hour you spend is an investment. Every bit of energy you give away is something you won't get back. And the hard truth is, you've been spending both too freely. You don't need more time. You need better boundaries. Look at how easily your focus gets pulled in different directions. A quick check of your phone turns into an hour lost. A small conversation turns into wasted energy. A moment of boredom turns into mindless distraction. And it happens so quietly that you don't even realize how much it's costing you. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months. And suddenly you're wondering why nothing has changed. It's not because you're incapable, it's because you're unprotected. Protecting your time means making difficult choices. It means saying no, even when it's uncomfortable. It means walking away from things that don't align with your goals. It means understanding that not everything deserves your attention, and not everyone deserves your access. So you have to become selective. Not every opportunity is an opportunity. Some are just distractions in disguise. They look good on the surface, but they pull you away from what truly matters. If it doesn't move you closer to your goals, it's not worth your time. It's that simple. Protecting your energy is just as important. Pay attention to what drains you. Certain people leave you feeling tired, negative, unmotivated. Certain habits make you feel sluggish and focus stuck. And yet you keep allowing them into your life. Why? Because it's comfortable, because it's familiar. But comfort is often the enemy of growth. You have to be honest with yourself. If something consistently drains you, it has to go, or at least it needs to be limited. Your energy should be spent on things that build you, not break you. This doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. It means being intentional about what you allow into your space. It means choosing quality over quantity, whether it's in your relationships, your habits, or how you spend your time. When you start protecting your time and energy, your entire life begins to shift. You become more focused, more productive, more disciplined. You stop reacting to everything around you and start acting with purpose. You wake up knowing exactly what needs to be done, and you do it without hesitation. There's a clarity that comes with this level of focus. You're no longer overwhelmed by too many options or too many distractions. Your path becomes simple, not easy, but simple. You know what matters and you give your full attention to it. And here's the powerful part. When you protect your time and energy, you send a message to yourself and to others. You show that your goals are a priority. You show that your life has direction. You show that you respect your own future enough to make sacrifice. Because that's what it comes down to, sacrifice. You can't have everything. You can't say yes to everyone. You can't chase every distraction and still expect to reach your goals. Something has to be let go. Something has to be left behind. The question is, are you willing to let go of what's easy to make room for what's important? Every time you choose focus over distraction, you're investing in your future. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you're creating space for something that does. Every time you protect your energy, you're strengthening your ability to keep going. It won't always feel good in the moment. There will be times when you feel like you're missing out, times when saying no feels uncomfortable, times when discipline feels heavy. But those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments where real growth happens. At the end of the day, your success will not be determined by how much you did, but by how well you used what you had. Time and energy are your most valuable assets. Use them wisely, protect them fiercely, and invest them only in what truly matters. Most people wait to feel ready before they take action. They wait for motivation to show up, for the perfect mood, for the right moment when everything feels aligned. But that moment rarely comes. And even when it does, it doesn't last. Motivation is unpredictable. It rises and falls based on emotions, circumstances, and comfort. If you rely on it, your progress will always be inconsistent. You'll start strong, lose momentum, stop, and then have to begin again. That cycle keeps you stuck. The truth is simple. If you only work when you feel like it, you will never reach your full potential. Discipline is different. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't wait for the perfect conditions. It operates on commitment, not emotion. It's the decision to show up every single day, regardless of your mood. Whether you're tired, distracted, unmotivated, or overwhelmed, you still do the work. That's where real progress begins. There will be mornings when you don't want to get out of bed, days when everything feels heavy, moments when your mind tells you to take it easy, to delay, to skip just this once. And in those moments, you have a choice. You can listen to that voice and stay where you are, or you can act in spite of it and move forward. Growth happens in those decisions. When you choose discipline over motivation, you take control of your life. You stop being driven by temporary feelings and start being guided by long-term vision. You understand that success isn't built on bursts of energy. It's built on consistency. Small actions repeated daily. Effort that continues even when it feels boring, even when it feels pointless, even when progress seems slow. Because that's another truth people struggle with. Most of the journey is not exciting. It's repetitive. It's quiet. It's doing the same things over and over again until they become part of who you are. And if you're constantly chasing motivation, you'll abandon the process the moment it stops feeling good. Discipline keeps you grounded in that process. It builds habit. And habits are powerful because they remove the need for constant decision making. You don't wake up and ask yourself if you should work. You just do it. You don't debate whether it's the right time. You've already committed. The action becomes automatic. And once something becomes automatic, it becomes sustainable. That's how real transformation happens. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to keep showing up. Even if it's not your best effort, even if it's slower than you'd like, even if it feels like you're not making progress, you keep going because consistency beats intensity every time. A little bit every day will always outperform occasional bursts of effort followed by long periods of inactivity. Discipline also builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on what you said you would do, you strengthen your confidence. You prove to yourself that you are reliable, that you don't quit when things get hard, that you don't break your own promises. And that kind of self-trust is powerful because once you trust yourself, you stop doubting your ability to succeed. You stop second-guessing every decision. You move with certainty. You act with purpose. You become someone who finishes what they start. But discipline requires sacrifice. It means doing what needs to be done instead of what feels good in the moment. It means choosing long-term results over short-term comfort. It means saying no to distractions, to laziness, to excuses. And yes, it's hard, but staying the same is harder. Living with regret is harder. Looking back and realizing you had the potential but didn't use it, that's hard. Knowing you could have done more, been more, achieved more, but didn't because you were waiting to feel motivated, that's something that stays with you. So you stop waiting. You stop relying on feeling. You decide that no matter what, you will show up. You build a routine and stick to it. You set standards for yourself and live by them. You understand that some days will be easier than others. But that doesn't change your commitment. Whether it's a good day or a bad day, you do the work. That's discipline. And over time, it compounds. What once felt difficult becomes normal. What once required effort becomes habit. And what once seemed impossible starts to feel achievable. You don't suddenly become successful overnight. You become successful through thousands of small, disciplined actions that no one sees. Through days when you pushed yourself even when you didn't want to. Through moments when you chose progress over comfort. That's the difference. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. Most people spend their lives chasing approval without even realizing it. They shape their actions around what others might think, constantly adjusting themselves to fit expectations that were never truly theirs. Every decision becomes influenced by external opinions. What will people say? How will this look? Will this be accepted? And in that process, they slowly lose themselves. Their focus shifts away from growth and toward validation, away from purpose and toward perception. The problem with living this way is that validation is unstable. It changes depending on who you're around, what you're doing, and how others feel in that moment. What impresses one person might mean nothing to another. What gets praised today might get criticism tomorrow. If your sense of progress is tied to that, you will always feel uncertain. You will always question yourself, and you will never feel fully satisfied, no matter how much approval you receive. Real growth begins when you break away from that cycle. When you stop looking outward for confirmation and start looking inward for direction, everything becomes clearer. You begin to understand that your journey is personal. Your goals are yours. Your standards are yours. And the only approval that truly matters is your own. That doesn't mean ignoring feedback or isolating yourself from the world. It means not depending on it to feel worthy or successful. Focusing on self-growth requires honesty. It means taking a real look at where you are without excuses and without comparison. It means acknowledging your weaknesses, not to feel discouraged, but to understand where improvement is needed. It means recognizing your strengths and building on them with intention. This kind of self-awareness is powerful because it gives you control. You're no longer reacting to what others think. You're acting based on what you know needs to be done. Comparison is one of the biggest obstacles in this process. It's easy to look at others and feel like you're behind, like you're not doing enough, like you're not moving fast enough, but comparison is misleading. You don't see the full picture of anyone else's journey. You see highlights, outcomes, moments that are often carefully presented. What you don't see are the struggles, the failures, the time it took to get there. When you compare yourself to that incomplete picture, you create unnecessary pressure. Your only real competition is who you were yesterday. Progress doesn't have to be dramatic to be meaningful. Small improvements made consistently create real change over time. Learning a new skill, building better habits, becoming more disciplined, more focused, more resilient. These are the things that shape your future, and none of them require validation from others to be valuable. There will be moments when people don't understand your choices, when they question your direction, when they don't see the vision you're working toward. And that's okay. They're not supposed to. Not everyone is meant to understand your path, because it wasn't made for them. If you wait for everyone to agree before you move forward, you will stay stuck. Confidence grows when you rely on your own standards, when you set goals that matter to you, and you commit to reaching them regardless of who is watching. When you measure your progress based on effort and consistency, not applause, this kind of confidence is stable because it's built from within. It doesn't depend on external reactions. Focusing on yourself also means protecting your mindset. The more you seek validation, the more you open yourself up to negativity. Criticism affects you more. Opinions carry more weight. Doubt becomes louder. But when your focus is on growth, those things lose their power. You listen, you learn if there's something useful, and then you keep moving. You don't let it define you. There's a quiet strength in this approach. You're not trying to prove anything to anyone. You're not chasing attention. You're building something real, something that doesn't need constant recognition to exist. And over time, that becomes visible. Not because you were trying to impress, but because you were committed to improving. This shift also brings a sense of freedom. You stop overthinking every move. You stop worrying about how everything will be perceived. You stop holding yourself back out of fear of judgment. Instead, you act with purpose. You make decisions based on growth, not approval. And that allows you to move faster, learn more, and become stronger. It's not always easy. The desire for validation is natural. Everyone wants to feel seen, appreciated, recognized. But when that desire becomes the driving force behind your actions, it limits you. It keeps you dependent. It prevents you from reaching your full potential. Letting go of that dependency doesn't mean you'll never care what others think. It means their opinions no longer control your direction. You respect your own path enough to stay committed, even when it's misunderstood. At the end of the day, the life you're building is yours. The progress you make is yours. The person you become is shaped by the choices you make when no one is watching and no one is validating you. That's where real growth happens. Quietly, consistently, and without the need for approval. Most people underestimate the power of silence because they're uncomfortable with it. They feel the need to fill every gap with words, to respond instantly, to share opinions even when they haven't fully understood the situation. But constant talking creates noise, and noise blocks clarity. When you are always speaking, reacting, and expressing, you leave no room to truly see what's happening around you. Silence changes that. When you talk less, you begin to notice more. You start picking up on details that were always there but went unnoticed. The way people behave, not just what they say, the patterns in conversation, the intentions behind action. You begin to see the difference between words and reality, and that awareness gives you an advantage most people don't have. Observation is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. When you intentionally step back and listen more than you speak, your mind becomes sharper. You process information more deeply. You stop reacting emotionally to everything and start responding with understanding. Instead of being pulled into every situation, you learn to assess before you act. This is where better decisions come from. Many mistakes happen because of impulsive reaction, saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, making decisions based on incomplete information. Letting emotions take control before logic has a chance to step in. But when you create space through silence, you give yourself time to think. Time to evaluate. Time to choose the right response instead of the fastest one. Silence also reveals truth. People often expose more about themselves when you are not interrupting or trying to steer the conversation. When you listen carefully, you begin to understand their mindset, their intentions, their consistency. You see who is genuine and who is not. You recognize who supports you and who only pretends to. These insights are valuable because they help you protect your time and energy. They help you avoid unnecessary conflict, disappointment, and distraction. Talking less doesn't mean you become passive. It means you become intentional. When you do speak, your words carry more weight because they are thoughtful, measured, and meaningful. You're not speaking just to fill space. You're speaking because you have something valuable to say. There's also a level of emotional control that comes with this approach. When you're used to reacting immediately, it's easy to get pulled into arguments, negativity, and unnecessary drama. But when you train yourself to pause, to observe before responding, you gain control over your reaction. You're no longer easily triggered. You don't let small things affect your focus. You remain steady, even in situations that would normally disturb you. This kind of control builds respect, both from others and from yourself. People notice when someone doesn't feel the need to speak constantly. There's a presence in silence, a sense of confidence. Shows that you're comfortable with yourself, that you don't rely on constant expression to feel heard or validated. And more importantly, it allows you to stay focused on what truly matters. Another powerful aspect of observation is self-awareness. When you slow down and reduce external noise, you begin to notice your own patterns as well. Your habits, your reactions, your strengths, your weaknesses. You become more aware of what helps you grow and holds you back. And with that awareness, you gain the ability to improve. Without observation, there is no clarity. Without clarity, there is no direction. You can't fix what you don't see. You can't improve what you don't understand. Silence gives you the space to see clearly. It removes the constant distractions that keep your mind occupied with unnecessary thoughts. It allows you to focus inward as well as outward. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, choosing to listen sets you apart. While others are busy expressing, you are learning. While others are reacting, you are understanding. While others are distracted, you are focused. This doesn't mean you should never speak or share your thoughts. It means you choose your moments wisely. You speak when it adds value, when it moves things forward, when it aligns with your purpose. And when it doesn't, you remain silent. Over time, this approach transforms the way you think and act. You become more patient, more strategic, more aware. You stop being controlled by the chaos around you and start moving with intention. And that's where real strength lies. Not in saying more, but in understanding more. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can achieve in a year. They look for big, dramatic changes, expecting instant results, and when that doesn't happen, they lose patience. They stop, they switch directions, they start over. And in that constant cycle of starting and stopping, they never build momentum. Real success doesn't work like that. It's not built in one breakthrough moment. It's built through repetition, through small actions that seem insignificant in the moment, but become powerful over time. The problem is, those small actions don't feel impressive. They don't give immediate rewards. They don't attract attention. And because of that, people ignore them. But those small actions are everything. Taking consistent action means showing up every day, regardless of how big or small the task is. It means understanding that progress is not always visible immediately. Sometimes it's happening beneath the surface. Skills are improving. Habits are forming even when you don't see results. Something is changing. The key is to keep going. Consistency creates momentum, and momentum makes things easier over time. In the beginning, everything feels difficult. You have to push yourself. You have to remind yourself why you started. You have to fight resistance. But as you continue, things begin to shift. What once felt hard becomes manageable. What once required effort becomes routine. That's the power of repetition. When you take action consistently, you remove the pressure of perfection. You stop worrying about doing everything exactly right, and you focus on simply doing it. Because doing something, even imperfectly, is always better than doing nothing. Waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect plan only delays progress. Action creates clarity. You don't figure everything out before you start. You figure it out as you go. Each step teaches you something. Each attempt gives you feedback. Each mistake shows you what to improve. And over time, those lessons build experience. That experience becomes confidence. And that confidence allows you to move faster and more effectively. But none of that happens without action. Thinking about what you want to do doesn't change anything. Planning endlessly doesn't change anything. Talking about it doesn't change anything. The only thing that creates results is doing the work. There will be days when you don't feel like it. Days when you're tired, distracted, or discouraged. Days when progress feels slow and non-existent. And those are the days that matter the most. Because anyone can take action when they feel motivated. Anyone can show up when it's easy. But the people who succeed are the ones who continue when it's hard. Consistency on difficult days is what separates you. You have to build a standard for yourself. A level of commitment that doesn't change based on your mood. You decide that no matter what, you will take action. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be massive. It just has to be consistent. Even a small step forward is still progress. Over time, those small steps add up. One day of effort might not seem like much, but repeated over weeks and months, it creates real change. It builds results that cannot be ignored. And eventually, what once felt like slow progress becomes undeniable growth. Another important part of consistent action is eliminating hesitation. The longer you think about doing something, the more likely you are to delay it. Your mind will find excuses. It will create reasons to wait. It will convince you that now is not the right time. And if you listen to that voice too often, you stay stuck. So you act quickly. You reduce the gap between thinking and doing. You make decisions and follow through without overcomplicating it. You trust that taking action, even if it's not perfect, is better than staying still. This builds confidence. Every time you act, you prove to yourself that you are capable, that you don't just think about change, you create it, that you don't just set goals, you move toward them. And that belief in yourself grows stronger with each step you take. Consistency also requires patience. You have to accept that results take time, that progress is not always visible right away, that there will be periods where it feels like nothing is happening. But if you stay committed, those periods will pass. What matters is that you don't stop. You keep moving forward one step at a time. You stay focused on the process, not just the outcome. You understand that success is not a single moment. It's the result of continuous effort over time. And eventually, all that effort compounds. What started as small, simple actions become something bigger, something meaningful, something real. And when you look back, you realize that it wasn't one big decision that changed your life. It was the decision to keep going every single day. And in the end, it all comes down to a simple truth. The life you want is built by what you do daily, not occasionally, not when you feel inspired, not when it's convenient, but when it's necessary. Every quiet effort, every disciplined choice, every moment you decide to keep going instead of giving up, it all adds up. You may not see it immediately, but it's shaping you into someone stronger, more focused, and more capable. So you keep moving without noise, without excuses, without stopping. Because one day the results will catch up with your effort. And when they do, everything will make sense.